Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Happy new week. Happy Monday. If you can see and hear me okay, do me a favor and just drop a yes in the chat so I can make sure that we are all on the same page before I get into this Mindset Monday, because today I am going to be answering the question of, can you build a coaching business during a hard season of life? Because we know that life be lifing. Hello, hello, hello. Thanks so much for joining. Thanks so much for joining. Because here's the thing, uncertainty is not a reason for you to stop building multiple streams of income. It is not a reason for you to stop building your business. It is the reason that you should have started sooner. And I want to say that again because I think that this is the most important thing that I'm going to say in this whole conversation. And that is, uncertainty is not a reason for you to stop building. Uncertainty is the reason that you should have started sooner. And the women who have been building something to stand on when life gets hard, they're not the ones who waited for stability before they actually started. They're the ones who built during the instability. They're the ones who decided that the uncertainty, that was the message. It wasn't the obstacle. And the women who have something to stand on when life gets hard, they're the ones who understood that their job was never meant to be their only plan. And they're the ones who built that second plan while the first one was still in motion. They're the ones who built their second plan while the first plan was still in motion. Welcome back to Nick at Noon. My name is Nick Scott. I'm the founder and CEO of Her Income Edit. We are an online education platform where we help professional women use their existing skills and turn them into multiple streams of income through coaching and digital products. And we do this without encouraging them to leave their 9 to 5. We do it without burnout, without hustle, and without starting from scratch. Happy new week. Happy Monday. Today here on Nick at Noon, it is Mindset Monday. And before I get too deep into today's episode, I want to mention real quick that I am hosting a live workshop on May 30th. It is called Her Income Lab. And we will be building your coaching offer together in real time. So I want you to get on the wait list. The link for the wait list is in the description, or you can visit my website at herincomeedit.com/workshop. So if you haven't already, I want to invite you to go get your notebook and your pen or whatever it is that you take notes on. I encourage you to share this episode with your biz bestie or with a friend who might need it. And if you have any questions or comments as I'm going through this conversation today, feel free to drop them in the chat if you're watching live, or you can drop it in the comments if you're watching the replay, and I will get to your question or your comment, your feedback, whatever it is that you have to say, because we are about to get into it today. I am talking about what commitment looks like when life be lifing. Thanks so much for joining on YouTube. I am getting ready to talk about what commitment really looks like when life be lifing, because life be lifing, y'all. And I don't want to waste your time talking about the inspirational version of this conversation. I want to talk about the real one. I want to talk about the honest one. And I want to start by talking about what a season of uncertainty looks like for a woman who is trying to build something, for a woman who is trying to build outside of her 9 to 5, for the woman who is trying to build and doing her best to build second, third, fourth streams of income, because she understands that her job was never meant to be the only plan. Because I think the coaching world talks about uncertainty in vague philosophical terms. And I want to use this conversation to make this just a little bit more tangible. Is that okay with you? Uncertainty looks like a company wide restructuring announcement that puts your role in danger. Uncertainty looks like a performance review that went completely different than you expected. Uncertainty looks like a new leadership team that's changing priorities in your position in the organization along with them. Uncertainty looks like an industry that is shifting in ways that make you less confident about your current role because you're not sure that it will even exist in the same way 2 years from now. Uncertainty looks like a personal health situation that's pulling energy and attention away from everything else. And whether that is a health situation with you or a family or a friend or a loved one. Uncertainty looks like a family situation that requires more of you than you have available. It looks like a season of life that's demanding and unpredictable and nothing like the stable, clear, productive conditions that you imagined you'd be building something within. Uncertainty looks like a layoff that happened either to you or somebody in your network. Or it feels like the fear that a layoff could happen because you've watched it happen to people who were doing everything right and they still got laid off anyway. Now I'm going to ask you a question. Does any of what I just described sound familiar? Does any of what I just described sound familiar? If it does, drop a yes in the comments because here's what I know about professional women in 2026. Almost all of you are navigating some version of this because the truth is the landscape has shifted. The landscape has shifted. If you feel like the landscape has shifted, drop yes in the comments. The security that was supposed to come from building a solid career, from being excellent at what you do, and from being the person the company couldn't afford to lose, that security has been revealed for what it has always been, especially in these last 12 to 24 months in these United States, with the hundreds of thousands of women who have been laid off, Black women who have been laid off. That security has been revealed for what it always has been, and that security is conditional. And the women who are building alongside their jobs, the ones who are turning their skills into a second income stream and building something that belongs to them and not an org chart, those women are not waiting for the uncertainty to resolve. They're building through it. Because these women, they understand that the uncertainty is not a season that ends. It's the condition of professional life in this modern economy. It is just something that we have to accept and live with. And building through it isn't just possible. You can build through this uncertainty because, as far as I'm concerned, it's the only option that produces security. It is the only option that produces security. Now, let me talk about a myth around commitment that I think keeps women from building during these uncertain seasons. And that is the myth that commitment requires ideal conditions. And I'm just going to give you just a few descriptors about what this myth is, because it sounds a little bit something like, I'll be really committed to building my coaching business when things settle down at work. It sounds like I'll go all in when the kids get a little older. I'll start taking this more seriously when I have a little bit more mental bandwidth. It sounds like I'll commit to this for real when life cooperates. And here's the thing, I totally understand that. Like, I totally understand why that myth exists. I totally understand each and every one of those scenarios and those statements that I just described. I understand it because every one of those that I just said, it feels very responsible. And we are responsible. We are high achieving women, and we most always do the responsible thing, right? Because when everything is demanding and uncertain, adding another commitment, it feels like the opposite of self care. Would you agree with that? It feels like you're piling on. It feels like asking more of yourself when you're already at capacity. But here's the thing, that responsible logic is missing. The season of life that has more bandwidth for you, that has lower stakes and better conditions for building your second, third, fourth, fifth income stream, it's not coming. That season of life is it's not coming. It's not coming because you're doing something wrong. It's not coming because that season doesn't exist. Women who are in demanding careers with full lives and real responsibilities, you are always going to have competing demands. Life does not stop lifing, and your demands, they don't disappear. And the uncertainty, it doesn't resolve into a period of calm where building the thing becomes easy. It just doesn't happen. And here's what I know about commitment. Commitment is not the decision that you make when your conditions are right, when the conditions are perfect. Commitment is the decision you make in spite of those imperfect conditions. And this right here, that what I just said, commitment is the decision that you make in spite of your conditions. That is where commitment diverges from motivation. And it diverges from motivation because motivation is condition dependent. It is condition dependent. Motivation, it rises when things are going well, it surfaces when you're seeing results, and it shows up when your energy is high and the path that you're going down is clear. That's when motivation shows up, right? Like, you're motivated. You want to get things done. You want to do the thing because they're going well. You're seeing results and your energy is high in the path. You can clearly see, like, there's no obstacles, there's no hurdles. But commitment, on the other hand, it is condition independent. Somebody drop independence in the comments. Commitment, it stands firm when the work is hard. Commitment stands firm when the results are slow and when the season is uncertain and nothing is cooperating. Commitment stands firm in that. And the woman who is building a coaching business in the middle of a difficult season at work or in her life, she isn't doing it because the conditions are right. She's doing it because she made a decision, and the conditions around that decision, they don't get to vote. They don't get a vote. And that decision to build in spite of the conditions, it's more powerful than any perfect circumstance that she could have waited for. Much more powerful. And if I haven't said enough, I want to flip the script completely on this because I think most women see uncertainty as the reason to press the pause button. If you feel that way, you're not alone. I have been there myself. And I want to make the case that uncertainty is the most compelling reason for you to accelerate. for you to hit fast forward. Here's the deal. Your 9 to 5 was never meant to be your only income stream. And it's not because your employer is dishonest or because your career or your position isn't valuable. Your 9 to 5 was never meant to be your only income stream because a single stream of income tied to a single employer in an economy that restructures and automates and downsizes and pivots without warning, it puts you in a fragile, unsteady, and volatile position. But I don't have to tell you that because you already know this, right? Because you've watched it happen. You've watched it happen to people in your network. You've watched it happen to people who were excellent at their jobs. You've watched it happen to people who gave everything to an organization, and that organization made a business decision, and that person's role was on the wrong side of it. And you've watched this happen and play out to other people without building your own backup plan. You have watched this, yet you still haven't built your own backup plan. You've been operating on the assumption that for some reason, your position is different. You've been operating under the assumption that your company or your industry and your role, your situation is more secure than theirs. Like, it's not going to happen to me. And maybe your company, your industry, and your role is more secure. Maybe it is, but maybe it's not. And the cost of finding out the hard way, the cost of a 15-minute Zoom call that changes everything about your 9 to 5 security, when you don't have anything built, when you don't have anything to stand on, when your entire professional identity and income is tied to one employer's decision, that cost is real. That cost is real. And I know it's real because I paid it. And the uncertainty you're feeling right now isn't a reason to wait until things stabilize before you build. As far as I'm concerned, it is the clearest possible signal that building something for you, something that you control, it's not optional anymore. Multiple streams of income are not a luxury, y'all. It is security. Somebody drop security in the comments. And the time to build your security, it isn't after whatever uncertainty you're facing. It isn't after it resolves. The time to build the security for yourself is during the uncertainty. We are answering the question, can you build a coaching business through a hard season of life? Because by the time, whatever the uncertainty is, by the time it resolves, it's often too late to have built anything in time. And the women who come out of uncertain seasons with more options than they went into them with, they're not the ones who waited. They're the ones who used that discomfort as fuel. They're the ones who use that discomfort as fuel. They're the ones who let the uncertainty of their job, they're the ones who let that uncertainty remind them of why their backup plan matters. And the women who come out of uncertain seasons with more options, they're the ones who built when it was hard, because hard was proof that the building was necessary. Now, I want to get specific about what commitment looks like when life is lifing, because life be lifing, y'all. Life be lifing. Because I think commitment gets talked about in these big, broad, sweeping strokes and dramatic terms that don't translate into the real experience of trying to build something within the margins of a demanding life. Commitment in a season of uncertainty doesn't look like going all in and ignoring everything else. That is the opposite of our mission at Her Income Edit. It doesn't look like grinding 12 hours a day and sacrificing sleep and relationships and health on this altar of whatever it is that you're building. That right there, what I just described, is the complete opposite of everything that we believe at Her Income Edit. And we believe that because we believe that that is not commitment. I believe that is hustle culture dressed up as dedication. I do not describe to hustle culture because hustle culture is not sustainable. Been there, done that. I can write a book about it. It's not sustainable. Hustle culture is not necessary, and hustle culture is not what produces multiple income streams that last. Hustle culture is going to have you switching your mind and chasing every single shiny object as you build this thing. Commitment in a season of uncertainty, it looks like this. It looks like protecting a specific window of time every single week to build your second income stream. And I'm not talking about a massive window of time, a huge block chunk of time in your day or your week. I'm talking about a protected block of time where you show up every single week, whether it's 2 hours or 3 hours, whatever amount of time that you can genuinely protect without it destroying everything else. That's what commitment looks like in a season of uncertainty, protecting that window of time to build. Commitment in a season of uncertainty, it looks like showing up for that window of time, even when the motivation isn't there, even when you're tired, even when the week was hard and the last thing you feel like doing is sitting down to work on your business. Commitment says your protected window is always, and it's non-negotiably, it's the thing that gets honored. And it's not because you always feel like it. It's because you committed to it and you made that commitment to yourself. And the commitment that you make to yourself, you should hold that commitment regardless of whatever the week brings. Commitment in a season of uncertainty, it looks like making progress that is invisible from the outside. I'm talking about the clarity work that's required that nobody sees. I'm talking about the conversations that are required that don't produce immediate results. I'm talking about the offer that you built that somebody says no to, but then taking the learnings from that no and translating them into the next conversation and leveraging them in your next conversation. And none of that looks like content that goes on Instagram. But all of what I just described, the conversations, the clarity work, and hearing no to your offer, all of it is what makes your business real. Commitment in a season of uncertainty, it looks like having a short memory, complete amnesia for the bad weeks. I'm talking about complete amnesia. We ain't going to dwell on this too long because a hard week at the job, it doesn't mean that your business is failing. A slow month in your business doesn't mean the whole thing is wrong. A season of uncertainty doesn't mean what you're building is misguided. It means you're in the middle of something real. And let's be clear. The middle of anything is the hardest part, right? The end of the thing is always the best part. And the middle is also the part that determines who's still in this thing when it does start to get easier. The first 90 days are going to be, you're going to be excited. You're going to be motivated. You're going to show up. You're going to more than likely keep all of the commitments that you make to yourself. By the time month 6, 7, 8 rolls around, most women have abandoned their coaching businesses. And it's because the middle, that messy middle, as they say, is the hardest part. Because the middle of anything is the hardest part. It's the ugliest part. So, commitment in a season of uncertainty, it looks like keeping your vision clear, even when your current reality is hard. And we spent a whole long, wonderful, juicy conversation last week on this. We talked about the gap between who you're becoming and who you are right now. And in a season of uncertainty, that gap can feel overwhelming. Oh, by the way, let me pause real quick. If you missed that conversation about the gap of who you're becoming and who you are right now, I encourage you to go watch that on the replay. It's on my YouTube channel because that one was a good conversation. Okay. But in a season of uncertainty, that gap between who you're becoming and who you are right now, it can feel overwhelming. The vision you have for yourself and your business, it can feel so far, far away. And the temptation during this time, it's to let the hard current reality that you're in, it is to allow that to crowd out your vision entirely. But commitment, though, commitment says, nah, not today, Satan, because my vision is real and my vision stays. And the thing is, your current reality might be hard, but your vision is the reason to keep moving through it. Somebody drop vision in the comments. Now, I want to spend some time on something I think is especially important for the professional woman who's navigating a season of uncertainty at work, because I think that it changes the whole frame of what building a second income stream means to you right now. The skills that you have right now, the ones that you've developed through years of professional work, those skills, they're not assets that belong to your employer. Those assets belong to you. So I'm talking about your ability to navigate complex situations, or the pattern recognition that you developed through years of experience in your field, the way that you can understand problems that your professional peers face because you face them yourself. I'm talking about your credibility with people who need what you know. All of that is yours. It all goes with you when your job ends. It all goes with you when the company restructures. It all goes with you when that 15-minute Zoom call happens. And here's what makes this relevant to the season of uncertainty. When your job feels uncertain, you are that much closer to understanding the value of your own skills than you've ever been. Because uncertainty at work, it forces you to ask the question that you might otherwise be able to avoid. Like, you can't avoid it anymore. And that question is, what do I have outside of this job? And I'm going to ask you right here today, what do you have outside of your job? If you're taking notes, jot it down. If you feel good about it, drop it in the comments. What do you have outside of your job? And the answer for most women is more than they realize. Because the skills that feel ordinary to you, that feel like you're just doing your job, they're not ordinary to the people who need them. And they're not ordinary to the people who don't have those skills. What you know about navigating a specific kind of challenge is worth real money to a person who is navigating that challenge. It is worth real money to the person who has never been where you've been before. The bottom line in all this is your skills are your backup plan. They're your leverage, and they are your next income stream. And a season of uncertainty at work is often the season when that truth right there becomes the most urgent. When you finally stop being able to tell yourself that the job is stable enough that you don't need to build anything on the side. It's when the illusion of security dissolves enough that the necessity of building something of your own, it becomes undeniable. And I'm going to be very, very, very transparent and vulnerable right now, because that moment of clarity, when that illusion of security starts to dissolve, that moment of clarity is painful. It's very painful, but it is also one of the most vulnerable moments that a woman can have, because it's the moment when building multiple income streams, it stops being optional. And decisions made from that kind of clarity, those decisions are the ones that tend to stick. Those are the ones that tend to stick. Now, let me talk about what the sharpest version of the choice that I've been circling around this whole conversation. Because you can wait for the season of uncertainty to pass before you build. You can, or you can build through it. And both of those are choices. Either you can wait for the uncertainty to pass, or you can build through it. Those are two choices that you can make. But the thing about it is both of those choices have consequences. And I want to be honest about what each one of those choices produce. So let's talk about it. Waiting for the uncertainty to pass, all it does is produce more uncertainty. Because the fact of the matter is, uncertainty does not resolve into stability. What it does is it resolves into a new form of uncertainty. And if you spent the entire previous season of uncertainty waiting to feel stable enough to build, you arrive at the next season of uncertainty exactly where you were, with one stream of income, with no backup plan, and with no leverage. You arrive at that next season of uncertainty with the same level of fragility that you had before, except now you've also lost the time because you spent it waiting. So, building through the uncertainty, it produces evidence, and not immediate evidence per se. And it's not in a way that feels satisfying in the hard weeks, but it produces evidence consistently over time and in a way that compounds. So every conversation you have, every offer you make, and every client who says yes, every result that becomes a testimonial, every piece of content that sticks with your target audience, all of that is building the thing that means your next season of uncertainty, it doesn't hit the same way. It doesn't hit the same way because you have something. You built something. You have something that belongs to you, something that generates income based on what you know rather than where you sit in an org chart. We are answering the question of, can you build a coaching business during a hard season? You have something at that point when you build through that season of uncertainty, through that life change, through that transition. You have something that generates income based on what you know rather than where you sit in an org chart. And that something is a coaching business built from your existing skills, and it doesn't require you to leave your job. Again, that is anti her income edit. We do not encourage our clients to leave their 9 to 5. We believe that your 9 to 5 is actually the first investor in your business. Building this thing, it doesn't require you to hustle yourself to the ground. It doesn't require the season to be easy or the conditions to be right. What it requires is for you to make a decision. And it requires consistent, committed action that's taken within the margins of the life that you already have. That right there is what commitment looks like in a season of uncertainty. It is not dramatic or all consuming. It is steady. It is honest. And it means showing up for the thing that you said mattered, even when the week was hard. Even when the week was hard. So before I close, I want to talk about something that I mentioned at the top of this conversation, and that is on May 30th, I am hosting Her Income Lab, and it is a live workshop where we will build your coaching offer together in real time. And here's exactly why today's conversation connects directly to Her Income Lab. The reason that most women don't have a coaching offer yet, it isn't because they lack the skills. It's usually because they've been waiting for the season to be right before they build their coaching offer. And Her Income Lab, that is the day that you'll stop waiting, because we're going to build your offer together. We're going to do it live. We're going to do it in one session. And so when the session is over, you have something. You have something tangible, real, specific. That something is priced. It is ready to present and put in front of people. And you have something that doesn't depend on the season of cooperation. Registration isn't open yet for Her Income Lab, but the wait list is. And the thing about the wait list is the women who are on it, they are first when the doors open. The link for the Her Income Lab waitlist is down in the description, or you can go to my website at herincomeedit.com/workshop. I encourage you to get on the waitlist today, because uncertainty is not a reason to stop building. Uncertainty is not a reason to stop building. It is your reason that you should have started sooner. Your job was never meant to be your only plan. And the skills that you have, those are your vehicle. And multiple streams of income is not a luxury. Multiple streams of income are what security looks like for a woman in a world that restructures literally without warning. So I encourage you to build through every season, not because the season is easy, because, just like it's sunny days, it's going to be some blizzards in there. But I encourage you to build through every season, because the season, whatever season that you're in, it is proof that you can't afford to wait. It's proof that you can't afford to wait. Now, I want you to come back tomorrow. On Tuesdays on Nick at Noon, we talk strategy. And I have a very good conversation for you tomorrow. So if you haven't already, make sure that you are subscribed and turn the notifications on so you do not miss a beat. I am here Monday through Friday at noon Mountain Time. So set your reminder. And the wait list for Her Income Lab, it is open. The link is in the description, or you can visit my website at herincomeedit.com/workshop. I want to thank each and every one of you who showed up for this conversation today. I hope that you have found something that can help you along in building your business and building your coaching offer. I greatly appreciate you. I will be here tomorrow, Nick at noon. I'll see y'all then. Bye.